Grief is just love without a place to go. Of the many aspects of preparation, many people stop at acquiring things. The current state of prepper culture is a culture that doesn't realize it's like every other one out there. There are people who can afford the tricked out weapons and vehicle systems, enough food to feed an army, and all the other trappings of what prepared is supposed to look like. And don't get me wrong, the extra equipment will help in emergencies, but only if you've got a solid base of knowledge and realistic expectations for realistic dangers that will affect you at your level. It's like people who buy something to protect themselves but don't train with it. You have something that's no better than a voodoo crystal woo-woo talisman based on your beliefs. I want you to keep the formula shortage, the East Coast gas shortage, and the Ohio spill and fire in mind. Also, we're supposed to have been nuked by Russia about 370-ish days ago. People will prepare for every other thing they see on their screens, except their own lives. The end of life is inevitable. We have evidence of burial rituals going all the way back to Neanderthals. That's something that's not really considered or examined with any depth that this topic requires in the world of prepping. In grief-centered forums and while talking to people at work, I've encountered the rare prepper family. However, the outcome is usually not happy. In the course of teaching and preaching about the end of the world as we know it, they've left behind a harder life for their children, an unintended consequence, because they've lost track of the bigger picture. You can prepare for calamity. I assure you, I'm 100% about that. In the old country, you literally stored months of food in case power went down. Even if you're wealthy, ways to protect yourself are essential too, and I've repeatedly talked about financial preparation. However, I've touched on, but haven't fully discussed, what has to be the most important part of preparation. As far as human history goes back, without preparing the next generation to meet any struggle with the knowledge gained from lessons learned through facts and introspection, without leaving behind stories that enrich and reinforce cultural norms and values, you are, in a sense, the end of the line in your way of life, your thinking, and your beliefs. And it's painful to think about, but from the viewpoint of the lens of evolution. If you leave nothing behind worthwhile, you are classified as a weak link, unable to adapt to the world. Otherwise, you would be the dominant expression of qualities that ensure survival. Lots of preppers focus on the acquisition of stuff. The irony is that behavior and the reasoning behind their actions mimic the habits and outlook of my favorite stereotypical group, the soy consumer. Just look at how the extreme ends of these two groups are perceived. Both buy wants rationalized as needs. Both buy under the pretense of preserving against scarcity. Both have their favorite personality encouraging them to consume the next best thing. The end result is that life will be better, or they think it will, as defined by their subcultural values. One is better prepared, in their own minds, for the average workday and ability to de-stress, or feel less depressed about the crushing cost of living out life the only way they know how. The other feels better prepared to fight off some government group, when that government can't even stop the guy that went to the media about ending bin Laden. This still leads back to the cycle of life and death. Think about how scary this scenario can be. You lead a life. It can be a meaningful one full of lessons and stories of overcoming hardships, of successes and failures that can inspire or warn others. And you can throw it all away, leaving no legacy, no continuation of your individual contributions to society. You never inspired anyone to follow in your footsteps. You never gave them a reason to. With your attitude of hostility, your inability or lack of desire to be a mentor or a parent, you attempted to set up your children the best way you knew how, rationalizing bad decisions that led them to hate you and everything about you. You didn't think about the finality of death, the end of life. You never prepared for it. In prepping to stay alive and prevent death, you guaranteed the death of your worldview to the people you could have had the most direct impact on, your own family and friends. You lie in a box awaiting soil or fire to cover you, and all anyone can talk about, if anyone showed up at all, is what to do with all of your stuff. Just like a soy consumer, You died one death already. If no one passes on your memories or your lessons or your stories or your love, you will die again. It's as if you never existed at all. Think hard about what scale of impact you want to create, even if it's just preparing your family and close friends from a large group to a single individual. Your perceived grievances were enforced over decades of societal change, so if you want to change something, stop complaining. Stop fetishizing worst-case scenarios and hiding, too proud to admit that you're scared or unable to right now. You can still change that. Reach and teach. In a way, you're preparing for your own physical death. But if you have people who love and admire you, they will keep your memory and lessons alive in the things they do. Evaluate what you truly need to prepare for in your specific area, your local natural and man-made issues, how global issues affect you locally. You have to reach out, connect, inspire, and lead. The ultimate journey isn't just found in the things you do. Everyone you meet, every food you taste, the air you breathe, and the sights you see shape you. A single core memory created by a kind person and a good lesson can go so far to impact the future. Preparing your legacy is something everyone has to think about, and hopefully, a long time from now, you can see the results of your work surrounding you. You can feel pride that's only been described to me once with this single sentence. When looking around, the final words of this person were, "I'm so happy I prepared our future." Surrounded by friends and family that will carry their memories, their lessons, and ultimately their worldview to shape the region around them, to shape the world we live in. All we will have in the end is each other. Until the next video, be good, stay safe, and have a good one.